So this next section is about range control, which we're going to discuss in the vein of stepping forward or closing range as you block or as you guard an incoming attack from your opponent. We're going to talk about how the more comfortable you get with taking significant sized steps offline around your opponent, like around your opponent at 45-degree angles, will really accentuate openings that come for you to return to after they've swung. Let's start with demonstrating blocking with his throwing inside, laying on me, sword side laying on me. So instead of just standing my ground, and I'm accentuating what we're talking about through intentionally using a shorter weapon. So Zale's got about a 36. I've got about like a 28, if even. Okay, so this, so there you go, like a 34, a 36, much shorter. For folks that like to fight short, fleet weapons, or people who are shorter to begin with and have less leg span to lunge around their opponents, this is really advantageous for people to work on closing range as you block. It's almost vital for someone if you are constantly outmatched by having a taller or longer legged opponent. And so I will also acknowledge that part of why I emphasize this in my own fighting style is I got big gangly legs, right? And big gangly legs get to take much longer steps than my enemies do. That said, this all can apply no matter what your body type. So, Zale wants to throw that cross again. And instead of letting him just hit my hip, I can cut that off by actually stepping in as I block. And actually, the more I step in, the less I have to move my guard or my hand or my arm to block. And so, super slow-mo, let's demo that. I start just really casual guard. Zale starts to throw that cross. I'm going to lunge in towards Zale with my guard coming into his as I take a step. So again, we're synchronizing. Guard position doesn't have to change much. Our footwork puts our guard on this front-back plane into stuffing his attack and not letting him complete it. Go slow-mo. Okay. So this part, even making that jump in live action is pretty difficult. But if we get to do it and we train ourselves to, who's got the advantage right now? And I don't even care if I'm actually single or have a board and he's sword board. Like, who's got the advantage right now? I do. Why?
Grab his hand and take his shoulder.
Yeah, if I'm single, I get some hand manipulation, and I'm close enough to do whatever I want.
If you're bored, you've got him pinned.
Pardon?
If you're bored, you've got him pinned to some degree.
That's great, right? Most of this we're talking sword board versus sword board, and simply by sliding in, yeah, I have his weapon more or less pinned between our shields, and again, I get to do what I want. Okay, that can be an easy snap outside. He's still got some shield edge you can put up, so maybe we can do that and just swat quick chops, crossing chops down to his shoulder. We can play it real safe. Just shove him in, yeah, shove him while his weapon's pinned, get a leg and get out of there. There's a lot of different options, you feel me? But the fight changed immensely because instead of backing away or thinking about how to parry and guard his attack, I chose to stride straight into it, which cut off the angle he was able to get on me tremendously. Do you guys feel that? Demonstrate. One more time. So demonstrate him swinging inside from a different angle. One more time. Let's actually step back. Okay. You can, and this can be either foot. Okay. Most of the time I've been leading with my front foot. He snaps for a cross. It can also be outside foot, in which I have a huge advantage on his inside. Does that make right? You guys feel me? Yes. And again, my foot made the win. My hand didn't have to do anything fancy because it got close enough. Nothing fancy was required. Just chopping in close. That closing in, my guard and block is closing in as Zale's thrown outside, so either hip or shoulder zone. He slides forward for an outside wrap. Go ahead and let's start further back, so just a demo. So go ahead and actually come in. There's some risk here. You guys see that? on one hand, if my shield stays perpendicular, I'm putting some push into where his attack's coming from. I might take the oomph out of it. On the other, if he's got a flail, or if he's got any ability to just shot in motion and doesn't suck, my hip and or ribs back here, it could be obliterated. Okay. So what might I add that we talked about earlier that's going to help with that? I'm not just applying how I step, but how I what with my torso. Pivot. Okay. So now here, instead of just coming straight forward and getting hit, I'm going to come forward and slightly outside of his shield and where I step, and my body's going to pivot to where his attack's going. There we go. And now where are we at? For a split second, we're relatively even, except he just threw the swing. I got to come up under his hip, or I got to return a wrap, or an outside chop over his shield. So let's play that one more time. Super important to add the pivot. You can do the same thing we were doing earlier with that pivot, goes to the counter, out feint him. Cool. Let's say he goes high outside. There, I may only need the pivot. He did the closing distance to disadvantage for me. Okay? Like he took the big aggressive step, and I'm taking his thunder by using that to get the angle he wanted to begin with. You guys feel me on that? Mm-hmm. That can be super huge, especially if you're tired of getting wrapped over the shoulder as a shorter person. It's like, okay, like, I'll look small. Please swing there. Body pivot. No. Okay? Even if they're really good at guarding high or they got a big square shield. You do it again. Here's the safest way. Let's look at that from another angle. The safest way is simply I pivot my body. And actually here I was up defense mode. I pivot my body, take a leg, and then step back 45 and leave him there for trying to wrap me.